Warning: this video may potentially trigger seizures for people with photosensitive epilepsy. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the haunted tales from the old rocking chair. And now your host, Christina Spencer.
It Really Happened, written by MPZ 1968. I would like to share with you an experience I had about 10 years ago, give or take. I learned several years after this incident what happened to me is what doctors call sleep paralysis. I say they're full of shit. It really happened. I do not use drugs outside of caffeine or nicotine. I do not drink alcohol of any sorts. So this was not a hallucination caused by either of these two, nor do I have any mental issues that I know of. Let's make that clear. Going back about a year before this incident, at the time I was really into ghost hunting shows. I watched and recorded any and every show I could find that was about a team of ghost hunters investigating haunted places. Some were really good, others just sucked. No disrespect. I remember watching an episode of... Wait, in order to post here, I can't use any real names, places, or addresses. Okay, let's see if I can do this. I remember watching the show where the lead hunter guy is a muscle-bound jerk who don't like bullies, but in turn is one himself. He orders his crew around like he owns them, and they follow him blindly like sheep. I think you know the one. It's a good show, at least it used to be. Anyway, they were investigating... Oh shit, here we go again. They were investigating a bar owned by an old country singer located in one of the southern states, who wrote a semi-popular song about a girl. Everyone in the paranormal community says this place is truly haunted. Okay, now that that's over with, back to the story. They were down in the basement, I think. It's been a while since I've seen it, and to this day, it's only the episode of the show I will never watch again. They were talking with some guy about what goes on there, when up in the left corner of the screen there appeared a shadow figure, wearing a cowboy hat, standing in the doorway. At this time in the show, they stopped the film and pointed out that when they were actually down there, they didn't see the figure and only discovered it while reviewing the footage. I was naive back then and didn't really know much about the paranormal. I figured, it's a TV show, what harm could it really do? Boy, was I wrong. I now know that ghost entities, or whatever you want to call them, can follow you home from places and are made up of energy and can travel through any energy source they want. And they did. Now that I've given you the backstory to this story, let's proceed with the reason I'm actually writing this. Many years before the incident, an old friend of mine, back when I was 11 or 12, who I met through playing baseball in the same team, anyway, he had recently bought a house and was looking for someone to just give his older trailer mobile home to, which is where this incident happened. We had lost contact over the years, but unbeknownst to me, he had kept in contact with my father. My father gave him my number. He called me up and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. A free trailer, just pay lot rent. Oh, hell yeah, I'll take it. The trailer was old and needed work, but it was a good deal. I moved in, did some minor repairs, and a couple weeks after that I invited my father and stepmother over for dinner. My stepmother is what she calls an old soul. She can sense when things are not right with the universe. She took one look at the place and said, "There's bad juju here. I don't like it." Every time she came to visit, she was nervous. She wouldn't sit still. She always looked down the hallway. She eventually stopped coming and said it was too thick for her, whatever that meant. I just thought she was nuts, and now I know she's not. I lived there for many years, had some strange things happen, seen apparitions out of the corner of my eye, voices, cold breezes, etc. I just chalked it up to bad lighting, outside noises, insulation issues. Some rational explanation until that night. The night that changed my whole belief system forever. That night I will never forget. I was lying in bed asleep on my back like I always do. When I woke up, I noticed a black figure standing in the doorway of my bedroom. The hallway light was on. I always leave it on, in case I need to make a bathroom run late at night. The light from behind the figure showed it had a head, 2 arms, and 2 legs, but no eyes. It was just standing there. I blinked a couple of times to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing, and sure enough I was. Only this time when I looked at it, it was wearing a cowboy hat. The moment I realized that, I physically saw it jump from the standing position in the doorway over top of the bed and land on top of me. My body became stiff, unable to move. Out of my peripheral vision, I could see my wife lying next to me. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I saw the figure sitting on top of me. It reached its hands down into my chest and started squeezing my lungs. I couldn't breathe. It was squeezing the life right out of me. There I was, gasping for air, paralyzed and unable to make a sound. Just when I thought I was about to die, a series of intensely bright white lights started flashing all around the room, like a strobe light on steroids. I closed my eyes to shield them from the light. It was that bright. All of a sudden, my body jerked a couple of times like a convulsion and then stopped. I opened my eyes and it was gone. I was able to breathe again. I laid there, heavy breathing for a good 20 minutes, too scared to move. When I finally got the nerve to try, I slowly moved my right hand over to my nightstand. Still shaking from fear, I grabbed the phone to check the time, like I always do when I wake up in the middle of the night. The time was 3:48 a.m., the witching hour. Needless to say, I did not go back to sleep that night. I cautiously got out of bed so I didn't wake up my wife and turned on every light in the house. Every single one, including all the bedroom lights. How my wife stayed sleeping, I don't know, but thankfully she did. I made a pot of coffee, grabbed my Bible, and sat at the dining room table, drinking coffee, Bible in hand, until the morning came. I must have smoked at least a pack and a half of cigarettes in that 3-hour span of time. I'm good with that. I'm still alive. I asked my wife if she had seen or heard anything strange that night before. She said no, and I left it at that. I didn't tell her what had happened, and I still haven't. She probably wouldn't believe me anyway. My wife and I stayed at the trailer for about 2 months after that. When we got the opportunity to rent an actual house, we took it. We packed all our things and moved out. On the last day we were ever at the trailer, my wife had left her vacuum in the back bedroom where this experience happened. She asked if I would go get said vacuum, and I agreed. Upon entering the room, a weird sense of dread fell over me, and something inside me told me I needed to get out of there quick. I grabbed the vacuum, ran down the hallway and out the front door as fast as I could, slamming the door behind me. I then turned around and yelled, "You want this place? You can have it. I'm gone." My wife looked at me like I lost my mind. My father and stepmother helped us move along with some friends. My stepmother insisted that we drive all the vehicles that contain our belongings over bodies of water to block any of the bad juju from coming with us to the new house. We did, and have had no experiences in our new home, aside from a few really bad dreams I had the first couple of nights we were there about the trailer, but that was it. Well, that's my story. I really don't care if you believe me or not. I know for a fact it really happened. The Doll in the Storage Room, written by LeaderOfDeseptecons. When I was younger, I'd go visit my grandparents all the time. They lived in a one-floor house with an unfurnished basement. I never liked it down there. It felt small for a big basement. There was a little door down there that was for storage, and I always got a horrible feeling when going close to it, and let me add, this was a newer house that was only about 6 years old. Now, during the time I was about 6 or 7, even when I was with someone, I didn't like it. I remember going down there with my grandma to help with something. She had to run upstairs because someone rang the doorbell. She said she would be right back, even though she knew how I felt about being alone down there, but I nodded and said okay. She was gone and I was alone, and I started to get a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I didn't move. I didn't want to. Even though the lights were on now, this is where everything started happening, and it still gives me chills. The lights started to flicker, and I started to hear noises, and what sounded like talking, and it was not coming from upstairs, but in that storage room. I heard someone say my name. Here's the part that freaks me out the most. The voice sounded like my grandma. I was confused as hell how I'm hearing her when she's upstairs. I didn't want to move, but me being the curious one, I started moving towards the storage room door. The closer I got, worse the feeling became. When I got to the door, the lights turned off in the basement. I wanted to run upstairs and hide, go somewhere that wasn't in that basement. I heard my name again for a second time. My grandma's voice asking me to open the door to help her, so I did, and I regretted it. I couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. I couldn't hear anything but faint laughing. That felt like forever, but then the laughing stopped and the lights turned back on in the basement. And I felt a little bit better with the lights back on, but the downside, I could see a little in the storage room. I saw a small clown doll in the storage room, and my grandma hates clowns with a passion and wants nothing to do with them. So why is there a clown doll? I have no damn idea. Then the lights turned on in the storage room. I saw red that looked like blood all over the place. I screamed and backed out, and the next thing I knew I was laying on the couch. My grandma looked at me and asked if I was okay. I have no idea if that was real or a dream, but it sure as hell felt real. If you have any idea, please let me know. I hope you all enjoyed all of our haunted tales this evening. If you would like to discuss any of the stories on tonight's podcast or just chat live with me, join our Discord server. I'm always live on there during and after the podcast every Sunday night starting at 7 p.m. Join our community on our Facebook group page and YouTube channel. If you have a haunting story of your own or artwork and you want to submit it for consideration for the future show, drop me a line on our Reddit page or email address. All our links are below in the description. Special thanks to Darken Mood, Darken_M00D, for all his wonderful art that you can check out on his Reddit page. I want to thank all our brave storytellers, for without them there would be no show. A detailed list of story credits are in the description. But most importantly, I want to thank you, the listener, for taking time out of your day to listen to Haunted Tales from the Old Rocking Chair. I hope you have a wonderful night, and as always, sweet dreams.